So what were you trying to accomplish? We had some targets that we set at the beginning of the value stream mapping session for the hidden factory. Just tell me what the targets were that we were trying to hit.
We are trying to take our hidden factory lead time down from 8 weeks to a minimum of 2 weeks, and I would like to see it back down to 1 week when in the next 6 months to 12 months. We have enough orders, but we can't get them out to our shop floor fast enough. So when we looked at reorganizing everything, and we talked to Lynn, and we decided there's no sense speeding up our shop floor without making sure that we can get enough orders to our shop floor.
Hello, you lean maniacs. So I have a little treat for you this week. I am not working in a wood shop this week. Let's see if you can guess. I'm working in a metal shop, and these guys make some really cool stuff. So these guys make equine fencing and stalls. It's really, really beautiful stuff once it's all finished. But I mean, this is where it all begins. So we have this flat steel, and then now we're forming and bending and laser cutting. We have all of these awesome processes here to make sure that everything fits together. Everything's custom, of course. There's many different designs and many different sizes. So just like a custom cabinet shop, if you're on the left of the continuum, the custom side of the continuum, then your heavy lifting is done in the hidden factory. Obviously, lots of heavy lifting done out here with these processes, but in this case, as in most factories that I go to, most custom kitchen factories or custom factories of any kind, your bottleneck is in the hidden factory and they can't keep up with the shop. So I'm actually not here working on the shop this week. I'm just taking a quick tour through the shop. I'm here working on the hidden factory because the hidden factory is, here's the classic symptoms that apply to most people that are doing any level of custom work, and they're all here. We've uncovered them already. This is, we're just starting day 3. So we have lots of defects in the shop as a result of the paperwork, lots of questions from the shop as a result of the lack of clarity and details on the paperwork. I consider questions defects, so that's just another level of defects. That's another level of interruptions in your bottleneck operation in your hidden factory, which is typically engineering. These guys are getting interrupted. I would say in this shop particularly, I think we said hourly every day. Lots of issues there, very, very common. Also, think of your hidden factory just like another factory. So we have a bottleneck in our hidden factory. Typically it's engineering. In this case it is. These guys are working on already, they realize that they're working on training up a couple of people, but it takes a long time to train someone. That's where the training matrix comes in. We can build our cross-training plan. We can see our progress. The first thing I'm going to ask you guys to do whenever we're on site, what are we looking for first? What's your first thing that you need to start doing? I'm going to give you a second to think about that. I hope you said measure. Measuring is the first thing we're obviously looking at this week. How can we measure the shop, but how can we measure the hidden factory as well? It's just another factory. We need to measure the targets. We need to have targets in that hidden factory. We need to measure our productivity in that hidden factory, not so we can tell people to hurry up. That's absolutely not what this is for. So we can help them understand what do we need so that we can open up capacity in the hidden factory. Our hidden factory needs to be faster than our shop. Our shop is always going to slow down to the rate they're being fed. So we need to speed up that hidden factory first. There's lots of capacity in the shop, so there's no reason to speed this up anytime soon. There's obviously lots of opportunity here from a lean manufacturing standpoint. But if we're just talking about throughput, these guys have a lot of capacity in the shop. Hidden factory is where we really want to find the waste, expose the waste. So we've done that. We've done our value stream mapping session. We see the waste, we see our bottleneck. So now we're at the point where we're understanding how can we measure the hidden factory? What targets are we going to use? How can we collect the data? How can we see it? How can we visualize it? The next issue we're facing is defects. So quality issues that are happening in the hidden factory that are causing problems in the hidden factory, but then defects that are getting out to the shop and then out to install. We always say quality at the source, so we always want to, go right back up to the source for all those quality issues. So we need to see them. How are we going to see our defects I've asked a few different people in the hidden factory, and there's 3 different answers on what the most impactful defect is or how often it happens, because we're not measuring, because we're not collecting data. The next thing we want to do is start collecting data on defects. A simple solution: collect the data, make it so that you can see it, so that you can work on your top 3. You're probably going to have 100 different types of defects happening all the time. I don't want you chasing all of those. I just want you focusing on your top 3 most impactful defects, because if you take the most impactful one on the list, another one's just going to bubble up. You'll always have something to work on from a quality perspective, but you'll be prioritizing what you work on. We're talking about training, getting other people trained up. So standards, we need standards for the training. So we'll have the training matrix, but we'll also have the SOPs. If we don't have an SOP on something that we're about to train someone on, that's the best time to create an SOP. So we're going to use the SOPs to help us do the training. We're going to document the processes. Whenever we have a defect, that's a great time to ask yourself, do I have a standard? And if I don't, create one. If I do, are we following the standard? If we are, what's wrong with our standard, and update it, and then do the training again. So we have our standards, we have our quality data collection, and our visibility. We have our metrics dashboard. So we are formulating our tactical plan this week on how we are going to open up capacity in the hidden factory. Of course, we're working on the classic things that we do in the hidden factory, a Kanban board so that we can see the lack of movement or product flow. We want everyone to see the product flowing through the hidden factory. That's the goal. We want something visual. We'll be doing that this week. We just have our prototype ready, and the group is just starting to use it and understand how they can incorporate that into their day. They're going to do that every day. So, 10, 15-minute meeting with the key people, and they're just focusing on what's not moving and how do we get that moving across there. But we have our classic Kanban as well. How are we going to manage our components? We've uncovered a lot of purchasing issues. This might surprise you guys, but these guys face the same issues you do in the cabinet shops. They get product out in the shop and they don't have all the components ready. Whether they were manufactured components that were meant to be manufactured in-house, or whether they were something that was purchased outside, they're also having problems, just like you guys, getting their components under control. And what do we use for that? We use Kanban, we use triggers.
You had some other things so you wanted to take your lead time down from 8 weeks to 2 weeks is your goal. Then we said morale came up. That was another one. I think we're kind of saying people are pretty stressed out right now. They're operating at their max level and not feeling like they're getting ahead. Do you think our plan is going to help with that?
Before we had Lynn in, we've had 2 extra designers start in the last 2 months. One guy's been here 3 months and one guy's been here 2 months. And if we would have done it beforehand, we could have maybe eliminated or not had to hire that one person. We're going to make that one person very efficient when we get right down to it. But I think the big thing is looking at your processes before you go out and hire people or look for a bigger space. This is the first time we've had a consultant in and spent 4 days at it with 9 people. The cost to do that is huge. I think the payoff is going to be massive in the end. We're looking at trying to save $140,000 a year.
That was a month. That was $140,000 of, so not save.
Yeah.
That was, you're looking
Throughput.
to add the capacity of $140,000 of throughput dollars for your hidden factory. If you make the changes that the actionable plan that we have today, we didn't even quantify everything.
Yeah.
All of those changes, we didn't even quantify the defect data collection and solving, focusing on our top 3 defects, and implementing Kanban. That was just based on improving, making some improvements in your bottleneck in your hidden factory. But that's huge. $140,000 throughput dollar opportunity per month in the hidden factory was actually a pretty conservative number, because we didn't work hard at capturing everything there. So.
Now, we really realized the fact that we need to collect better data and quantify it and make sure that we know we have to track our defects better. So again, we know what defects we may or may not have, how it's affecting us, and how we're going to fix it. So without knowing the defects, each person keeps their defects within their own kind of bubble.
Mm.
And until we actually see on a board what defects, what interruptions. So in the hidden factory, we identified the fact that interruptions are huge. So our designer, we found out, was getting interrupted up to 15 times a day.
Because we're not measuring it, I always say you get what you tolerate. So we just tolerate it,
Yeah.
and we hope it gets better, but we haven't, in this room this week, we're going to implement a lot of things to make
Yeah.
that better.
Yeah.
Right. But until we treat it like a true bottleneck and protect that resource, we tend to just, answer all the questions. We want to be helpful, but now you can see the cost. We actually figured out your cost per 30 minutes at the bottleneck in the hidden factory, and it helps you rationalize, are we okay sacrificing 30 minutes at the hidden factory today? Because that translates to a lot of throughput dollars for you guys.
And we're really got to train our designers to push back and say, hey, is that in an SOP? Hey, is it on the drawing? Okay, it's on the drawing, then you have to look for it. How can I make it more visible so you don't have to come and ask me that question again?
Yeah. We determined that you don't measure today in your hidden factory, so we don't know what a good day is or a bad day is. So you're going to start measuring. You're going to clearly start measuring what are your throughput dollars are you getting through your hidden factory, and then you're also going to start measuring your quality.
Yeah.
So you can see, are you getting better? Are you getting worse?
And it hasn't been sustainable, and that's the real reason why we hired in a consultant, that we want to make it sustainable. We want to have Lynn make us accountable. We've set up everything in Planner so that each team member is accountable. We can see if they've done it. We can see how long it took them to do it.
Yeah, and that's like this here. So this here is a prototype, and I would expect that this prototype Kanban board looks a lot different 2 weeks from now. And they've talked about it twice, and they've already come up with different ideas. So I know that this is going to change, and that's why we say do everything manually first. Figure out, is it helping you solve your problem, and then automate it once you get a really good solution.